Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 10 of season 2 of our F1 2010 career mode. Yes, we return this weekend back I believe at our home Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Valencia, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. The European Grand Prix is normally quite a dramatic one, at least in the 2 races I've done around there on this game. And yeah, the second one was pretty much as dramatic, not as chaotic as the first though. But yes, we cross over the halfway stage then of this season. I promise you I'm not trying to do this, but it really does feel like this championship is beginning to get away from us. Obviously, we retired out in Montreal. Last weekend, we ran out of fuel, and that meant we were only able to pick up a couple of points. But it does mean on the other side of things, the World Championship fight is looking absolutely insane right now. We have a 3-point lead over the very consistent Felipe Massa. Lewis Hamilton is P3, tied now with Fernando Alonso, and Jenson Button in P5 is only 11 points off of the top of the World Championship hunt as well. So 5 drivers, basically myself, both Ferraris and both McLarens, in the title fight early on this season. Vitantonio Liuzzi still ahead of Robert Kubica and Adrian Sutil. Of course, neither Red Bull really in the hunt. Mark Webber down in P9, Vettel down in P11, but they are still both ahead of my teammate Michael Schumacher. That means in the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari are 8 points clear of McLaren. We are 14 clear of Force India, a little bit further behind. Now, I was really hoping that we could try and, give it a good Constructors' Championship run as well over the course of this season, but I think unless Michael Schumacher starts getting some really big results in, it is not likely to happen. Also a big shame to see my former team HRT really struggling at the moment. But of course, yeah, if you're new, please make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. We are trying to get 3k subs here on the channel as well. But yeah, let's head out then here to my home Grand Prix. Last year's race here, I think, was just a horrible combination of lack of experience with changeable conditions, and this being a circuit where the AI are pretty good as well inside this game, so we didn't really get much data from this race last season, kind of not really still much idea as to what to expect. But, I mean, the team are swinging for the fences this weekend. They've told me I need to qualify on the front row of the grid, and my race goal, P1. I have to win this race for the team to be happy with us. So, high aspirations from the organisation. But of course, yeah, we'll wait and see what the weather's going to do as we head into that race as well. But Silverstone on this game feels really odd. It kind of feels narrow and a lot slower than what we get in a modern F1 car. Timo Glock has done a 1:36.6 first lap. I'm going to do a 1:31. That should be a straight into Q2. Well, there we go then. That looks pretty comfortable, doesn't it, by the end of Q1? And we've definitely got a lot more speed to give as well there. Ahead of both Ferraris and then both Red Bulls and then both McLarens. With Michael Schumacher, Rubens Barrichello and Vitantonio Liuzzi safely in your top 10. Any major surprises? Yes, actually, both Saubers out in Q1 alongside Sebastian Buemi. Bruno Senna and Karun Chandhok make it through. So I said it was a shame to see HRT doing so badly this season. That's a bit of a turn up for the books. First run then coming out on a set of the option tyres, so I'm hoping we're going to be down in the 1-minute 30s, but as we've seen so many times this season, even being 2 seconds faster in qualifying is no guarantee of any real race pace inside this game, just because the AI is, I mean, they're just so wildly inconsistent, aren't they? They basically just predetermine what their qualifying laps are, even though it normally doesn't correlate to what they're actually doing on the circuit as well. I think that is only an issue on F1 2010. I'm pretty certain it does get fixed for F1 2011, so we're not going to have to deal with it, in like the first 3 F1 games or anything like that. So a little bit of a mistake there as we head down in towards the final few corners of the modern layout. But yeah, obviously quite weird that this is the modern circuit, but obviously with the old start-finish straight, so it is still a little bit funky. Oh, it's just, again, really struggling to scrub off speed in some of those slower corners. This first lap has probably not been anything to write home about, but might still see us into Q3. Very, very wide through Luffield. Then, to finish off the lap as we get a huge snap of oversteer. That was where I span out last season here around this venue. There you go, 31.5. Should be us through anyway, but I want to try and get a cleaner lap in. I guess the really weird thing is here, I was having a look at the split times at the end of Q1. Unlike Montreal, where we're like 2 seconds clear in Sector 1, a second down in Sector 2, and then 2 seconds clear in Sector 3, here, we just do seem to be able to gain a little bit of time everywhere around the lap. So you can see by the end of Sector 2, 1.4 seconds up on Jenson Button, who I'm sure will be looking for a home race podium. Still absolutely find it wild that JB never got a podium at Silverstone throughout all his time in Formula 1. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton rarely finishes off the podium around this circuit, but oh, big moment there down through Luffield. Again, try and keep the throttle underneath us. Oh no, big error at the final corner. I mean, we were on for like a mid-30, but we're through anyway. Well, there we go then. Once again, it is your big four teams. McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull all inside your top 10. But Rubens Barrichello for Williams makes it through. So I'm sure Frank will be loving seeing that back in the pit lane. Robert Kubica narrowly misses out ahead of Adrian Sutil. Nico Hulkenberg nowhere near the pace of his teammate either, as Bruno Senna, Kroon, Chandok. I mean, they did out-qualify both Toro Rossos and both Saubers. HRT with a little bit more speed, but we just need to try and lock down pole again. Alright, come on then. Let's try and get a good lap here of the Silverstone circuit. Let's try and give the home crowd something to cheer on as well. World Championship leader, home Grand Prix. Through turn 1, they're all a little bit wide up on that outside curve, but that's okay. Get back on the throttle as early as you can, then flat through the first part of Maggotts and Beckett. A blend and a downshift through the second part. And then it's all about trying to get the nose tipped in nice and early. Take as much grass as you possibly can. Because, of course, the exit of the Maggotts and Beckett's complex much tighter than it ever has been in real life. Down the back straight, though, brake just before the start of that curb. As we head down the end of the hangar straight there. 4th gear on the way in, 5th gear on the way out. And then again, braking just before that inside curve. They'll actually lock at the front inside wheel ever so slightly. Oh, luckily able to keep the car underneath us. Short shift slightly on the exit. Of course, this new start pit straight should be completed within the next couple of years. Through what is obviously now the Monday turn 1, though, just a slight blend on the way in. Make sure we get the weight over the nose and then braking just for the 100-meter board in through the loop there. First gear through the second part. So you've got to try and again just temper expectations as to how early you can get on the throttle. Nice pickup though on the exit as we make our way down the Wellington straight then. Braking, looking just at about 125 metres out. Oh, a little bit wide on the way in. It will allow us to meet that second apex a little bit tidier there. Big snap oversteer. Let's try and keep it tidy through Luffield this time round. This has felt like a pretty clean, tidy lap though on the run back towards the line. Hopefully it's going to be a mid 130. 130.5. That is surely enough. As who was that just coming up behind me? That is Viantonio Liuzzi, who also looks pretty quick on his out lap. Well, there we go then. Pole position wrapped up here in a British 1-2-3. Hamilton able to dip into the 131s as well. So a brilliant lap by him. Jenson Button, 0.02 of a second quicker than Felipe Massa. And Fernando Alonso, only another 100th of a second back as well. So Hamilton down to Webber, all very, very close in qualifying. Michael Schumacher, best of the rest there, just clear of Vitantonio Liuzzi. And then, yeah, again, Barrichello locking up that 10th spot. But the easy job is on Saturday, the difficult job is Sunday afternoon. Well, apparently our engineer then not giving us any kind of radio communication pre-start. 5 red lights are on. Oh, and it's lights out, and away we go there. Try not to wheel spin too much off the line, but Hamilton, I think, is probably going to get a slightly better run down in towards someone. They're not going to back out of it, though. Let's look at the speed. Mercedes Valve versus Mercedes Power. What is Hamilton doing? Why did he lift out so much into turn 2? Oh, that was scary. We managed to thread the needle between the two McLaren cars. There was Jenson Button. I will also find a way around his teammate on the exit of the corner. Now, I'm not going to use rich revs this weekend. We cannot afford to risk running out of fuel yet again this series, so I'm going to just not use rich revs for at least the next couple of races there. Let's look at that Button now, able to find his way around the inside. Yep, already got it back, thank you, engineer. As we will try and hang on to the lead early on this afternoon. I actually think I'm going to move the wing into the up position just to give us a little bit more downforce, obviously, around the circuit. Now, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but will definitely help out through some of those corners, like, obviously, the modern-day Turn 1, and I guess the old Turn 1 as well. But, yeah, making our way through the loop, though, fairly clean and tidy on this opening lap. We've got to be more consistent in the second half of this season. We've got to make less mistakes, try and keep the rest of the field behind me. Which, I mean, is easier said than done when you can see how much Jenson Button can gain. Oh, no, that's Hamilton again. Down that back straight there. But Apex is an exit. Let's just try and hang on at the front and wait and see when the AI are going to pit. Yep, I could try and take a little bit more speed in the straights. But, of course, where there is, you know, a lot of high-speed corners and a lot of straights kind of evenly strung out around this lap. Just going to leave the wing in the opposition there. I was way too optimistic through turn 1. Maybe, yeah, just not quite remembering, obviously, with the full fuel on board, just how understeery this car can be. It's only lap 3, and I'm already beginning to feel a bit like Jarno Trulli here, the train I've got behind me. The only corner we seem to be able to get away from the AI is down here, and obviously the modern-day turn 1. So we just try and take as much curb as we possibly can on the way in. And that time around, to be fair, Hamilton has been able to stay a lot closer, but I'm just trying to minimise the errors. Like I said, this is a very, very good track for the AI, so one wrong move, and obviously we could lose a lot of spots and probably struggle to ever get them back as well. Now, you guys have been telling me that I'm actually revving out the car too much in a straight line as well sometimes, so I am trying to short shift where I can. Again, just so much fuel anxiety early on this season. It's all a little bit wide through Lovefield. Is that going to allow Hamilton an opportunity down the inside there? He certainly thought about it. It's actually Massa, sorry, up to P2. So I don't know where all these guys are kind of swapping around. Big blend back to turn 1. Make sure I meet that apex and get down the throttle nice and early on the exit. But I am so worried about how kind of strategy is going to play into this one. Although Silverstone is very high tyre deck, so we could see a 2-stop for some of the AI. I am not going to do that. My plan is probably pit at the end of lap 7.
Michael is coming in now. Michael in the pits now.
Okay, Michael Schumacher then already in for his first pit stop of the day, so our teammate, I mean, if he's still one-stopping, which I doubt highly if he's got a box at the end of lap 4, he could try and get an undercut on all of us at the moment. I mean, Alonso down in P5 is only 8/10 behind me still, so yeah, we are causing an almighty train of cars early on. I'm just trying not to give the AI opportunities to have a sneak past us through some of the corners where we are at our most vulnerable, but I'm still worried about some of them finding a way around me when the pit stop cycle begins, but we'll deal with that when we get there. We got more cars peeling into the pit lane then, as Schumacher was definitely the first in this Grand Prix, so I don't think Mercedes, don't think we're going to be able to manufacture anything here that will allow him to potentially jump to the front. But you never know, crazier things have happened inside this game there. As I mean, Felipe Massa is trying to hang me now through some of these trickier corners with more AI pitting. I think he's getting a bit frustrated. I think he knows that some of these guys might be trying to get a bit of an undercut now, so obviously I'm just sticking to my original plan, and what will be will be. Well, hello, Felipe Massa, surely not all the way, around the outside there, a little bit of contact. Oh, and that Ferrari is just so much better in a straight line, just no idea how he's been able to find the grip there, and Felipe Massa will say thank you very much. Horrible line though, back through turn 1. Because Rubens Barrichello now apparently is going quickest in this race, but is there going to be any opportunity to try and find a way back around Felipe? I think that Ferrari might just be a little bit too quick at the moment there, as you can see just how quickly he's able to pull away. We'll try and use a little bit of rich revs, but yeah, the Brazilian now has taken that chance, has been able to scamper away. It's important though that we don't suddenly let everybody try and find their way through. There's Button and Alonso still waiting in the wings. While making our way then down in towards the pit lane, you can already see just how much Felipe Massa has been able to get away, but I keep telling the team that I want to set a prime tyres. Where is that pit lane line? There it is. I think we've got the limiter on. Yep, wonderful. But please, everybody else I think might be doing a 2-stop here, so I'm hoping that we're on a 1-stop strategy. Are those primes? I think they are primes, aren't they? A 4.2 second stop, that's pretty good. Annoyingly, yeah, we haven't jumped Felipe through the cycle either, but happy with that one. Didn't get caught up behind a load of AI further back. And making our way then back out onto the circuit. We're going to be out still in P10. So Button now in the lead. Hamilton, though, still right behind me. Another DNF for Michael Schumacher. That is frustrating then. So, yeah, again, another hammer blow to our Constructors' Championship, especially when obviously Ferrari and McLaren are on kind of full steam ahead at the moment. Hamilton also on a set of the prime tyres as well. He tried to have a look around the outside there. Thought he'd ran way deep into the corner, but tried to keep it hooked up. But yeah, I doubt, and like I said, unless Felipe, for whatever reason, isn't one-stopping, I doubt we're going to see him again in this race. That red Ferrari is gone. Team want me to peel in. Don't know why. Because there is an abandoned wheel that I can only assume belonged to my teammate. Got to load more cars then into the pit lane at the end of lap 8. So hopefully... Robert Kubica now apparently is leading, but have we been undercut by anybody else here? Yes, we have. Fernando Alonso, sorry, and Jenson Button have got an overcut on us. As we're just about going to stay ahead. I think that's Mark Webber. Yeah, that overcut even has worked out so well for Button and Fernando Alonso here. If I remember correctly, last season, pretty certain Ferrari suffered a double DNF. So if they were able to get Alonso past Button, a 1-2 finish would be absolutely huge. Especially, obviously, where so many of the other teams based here at Silverstone, or, in the UK, I should say as well. But Robert Kubica really trying to go quite long on his strategy. Don't know kind of what his game plan is, but I don't think we're going to see any of our front runners two-stopping today. So we've just got to try and basically hang on to as many spots as I can. I knew the pit stop cycle was going to be painful, but it is frustrating to see just how much Felipe Massa has been able to get away. I'll tell you what, I'm trying to work out then who's running up in P2 right now, because, yeah, Felipe Massa is closing in on someone, but not a particularly rapid rate of knots. Button and Alonso are still battling it out with each other rather aggressively as well, so it means their gap isn't really going up, so we do seem to have found a little turn of pace at the moment, but I'm trying to work out whether that's another car like Kubica that hasn't pit yet, or has someone got a huge undercut and I just never realised? I think it's a Sauber, but I could be wrong. As we get to 2/3 distance, then Jenson Button now is right behind Felipe Massa still for what I believe is the net lead of the Grand Prix. But Robert Kubica, I tell you what, he's still setting some very competitive lap times. Oh, up at the front of the order as well. So the Renault man, I mean, I don't believe we've seen Renault win a race in this series so far, as that is not the line out onto the back straight. But could Robert Kubica do the ultimate overcut and still come out on top here? I want to see Button and Felipe battling a lot more. But how many times have I seen it in this game where we can close up, but we just can't quite get, there, and then the AI just get a bit quicker again? There you go. That is, yep, Pedro de la Rosa, so I was right. It was a Sauber car then peeling into the pit lane, and there is Robert Kubica as well, so he's not quite going to have undercut his way to the lead of this race. But I tell you what, he's not going to be far behind. He's going to come out just at the back of our little gaggles, so you can see Felipe, Jenson, and Fernando all on top of each other as they make their way through those first couple of corners. And, well, when we get some of it nailed, we can still close in a little bit more, despite losing those spots earlier on. I have not given up yet. I just wish I could use the rich revs. I mean, I could potentially. I just don't want to risk it. P4 is much better than not scoring at all. I feel like this race then is going to have to go down as an all-time Silverstone classic. 8 cars covered by about 3 seconds in this GP is way too wide through the old turn 1. So bad there. I actually got a warning for corner cutting. That's definitely one of my strongest points though on the track when I get it hooked up, as well as on the brakes in towards the loop. So if I'm going to be able to do anything, that's going to be where it's got to happen. But now as soon as we get within 1 second of the AI in front, they just find a bit more speed and absolutely drive away from me again. But is Jenson Button going to be able to find a way around Felipe Massa? Is this Felipe Massa's kind of big return in the sport? Obviously, if he wins this race, he will be World Championship leader. 2 wins to his name as well. What a comeback story that would be. Oh, whoa, big contact. Felipe Massa. Felipe Massa's had a wobble. Jenson Button's through into the lead of the Grand Prix then. So this suddenly puts both Ferraris under a bit of pressure behind as well, as Massa Again, running wide through that next corner, but if we can get a good run on the exit, maybe we can try and get a good run through in towards the loop there and close in even more on Fernando. I'm going to take the warning. I don't care at the moment. If there's any opportunity to get ahead of the Spaniard, I've got to try and take it. I want a podium here at home as well. Fernando, a big amount of contact there through the second part of the loop. Not quite able to find it that time round as we make our way down in towards the final section once again. But a huge moment for Felipe Massa just as I started hyping him up as a credible World Championship threat. He goes and does a bottle job 2-1-2. That's the kind of thing I would do. Rounding the final corner then to start the last lap here of the British Grand Prix. Jenson Button is still getting hounded by Felipe Massa, but if we can make it through this final lap without any major issues, I feel like this has been a huge return to form. We really have struggled ever since I took that week off when I was not feeling very well. Yeah, we've really struggled with consistency in the car once again, but, well, he says that, and then immediately decides I'm going to go for a bit of rallycross out onto the back straight. I mean, Silverstone is a really good track for the AI on this title, so no real surprise that obviously they would still have the speed to get the undercut on me and things like that. As all Felipe trying to have a look around the outside of Jenson Button down in towards the chicane. I don't think... Oh, no, he might have picked that one up. I think he has. Felipe Massa there, a power move back past Jenson Button on the very last lap of this Grand Prix to try and take the lead of the Drivers' World Championship. Will Button be able to do anything to try and find a way back round him as late race drama? Felipe Massa, though, it's clear just how much he wants to be in the World Championship fight this year. It looks like now, unless something crazy happens down at the final couple of corners, it is going to be win number 2 for the Brazilian, and he has definitely been one of the most consistent drivers this season. I'm going to be gutted, though, to so narrowly miss out on a home race podium. But honestly, a race like this today is exactly what we needed. Found some consistency in the car. Out of the final corner, Felipe Massa will claim the win. We will hang on for P4.
Really well done, mate. 12 points in the bag.
Well, there we go then. No idea what my AI was doing after we crossed the finish line, but Felipe Massa, by just 0.4 of a second, he will claim victory here at Silverstone. Button, he'll be disappointed with that one, just ahead of Fernando Alonso and myself. Red Bull, they look to be a bit more up to speed this weekend in P5 and P6, just ahead of Robert Kubica there on the alternate strategy. Rubens Barrichello, Vianto Liuzzi, and Jaime Alguersuari once again. When Toro Rosso seemed to have terrible qualifying pace, he seems to be able to clutch up and get that car into the points. No idea what really happened to Lewis Hamilton, finishing down in P12. Never really saw much of him as the race went on, as Michael Schumacher, Vitaly Petrov and Adrian Sutil, the 3 drivers that failed to see the checkered flag. What does that do to the World Championship? Well, I believe for the first time since Australia? We are not at the top of the table now. Felipe Massa, 10 points clear there, as we've got 3 over Fernando, who has a further 2 over Jenson Button. And Lewis Hamilton now 28 points away from the top of the title once again. Liuzzi still ahead of Kubica and Mark Webber, so definitely starting to see those Force Indias dropping down the order a little bit more as well. It's just the Renault-powered cars seem to be closing in. Kamui Kobayashi, though, still ahead of Michael Schumacher. It's Jaime Alguersuari. Where is he in the World Championship? He is still only down in 20th. I thought he'd scored more than that so far this campaign. Constructors-wise, though, again, Ferrari and McLaren continuing to pull away. Red Bull as well continuing to close in. So it might be a battle between us and them towards the end of the season as well. Thank you all, though, so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon out. I think maybe at the Hungarian Grand Prix? I honestly can't remember.